Today in Portland, Oregon, a local curler takes on a national ban. A PCC strike puts international students on the clock. A first-of-its-kind wealth tax gathers signatures. And a homeless service provider fights to rebuild after multiple fires. Let's cut to the chase. I'm Dean Bark. Welcome to the City Report here in Portland. Let's open with the big one. Portland curler battles against transgender athlete ban in sports. Sarah Maywalt is a Portland-based curler and a transgender woman. She's been sidelined from national competition by a federal order issued in February 2025 under the Trump administration, banning transgender women from competing in certain federally sanctioned sports. USA Curling, the national governing body sanctioned by the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee, has complied. Locally, though, the Evergreen Curling Club in Beaverton, a community club that publicly supports inclusion, says trans athletes belong on the ice. Looks like someone forgot the memo at the national level. Here's the rub. Despite studies indicating no notable advantage for trans women on sustained estrogen therapy, the ban persists, which means Maywalt, who can still play in informal club events like bonspiels, is effectively blocked from women's divisions at the national level. The tension is clear. Local support, national barrier. Restricting participation based on outdated policies only hinders progress. Let's pivot to the next story. Portland Community College strike puts international students' visas at risk. PCC, Portland Community College, has been on strike since March 2026, with faculty and academic professionals off the job, leaving winter classes unfinished and spring term delayed. International students on F1 visas, the student visas that require full-time enrollment, face a hard deadline: be enrolled by April 2026, or risk losing lawful status and, in many cases, deportation. PCC says students should consider transferring to other colleges. That's easier said than done, since international tuition is more than double the in-state rate. The college reached a tentative agreement with classified employees in March 2026, but nothing yet with faculty. The clock is still ticking. Layer on top a January 2026 expansion of a Trump administration order blocking most visas for Tanzanians and citizens of dozens of other countries, and some students are squeezed on multiple fronts. The takeaway is stark. Balancing labor rights and educational commitments shouldn't jeopardize students' futures. Shifting gears, Oregon considers groundbreaking wealth tax amid fiscal crisis. The measure, known as Initiative Petition 70, is being championed by Jonathan Tassini, a Portland-based chief petitioner behind the proposal. It would levy a 2% wealth tax on individuals with assets over $30 million, the top 0.2% of Oregon taxpayers. The campaign estimates about $2.7 billion in annual revenue to help plug state budget gaps. To make the November 2026 ballot, backers need 170,173 valid signatures by July 2026. Context matters here. Oregon has no sales tax and leans heavily on personal income taxes, so a wealth tax would be a significant shift in how the state raises money. Supporters call it a practical response to wealth inequality. Critics question feasibility and economic impacts. A wealth tax is a bold step toward fairness in fiscal policy. Whether voters agree is the next test. Moving on, Portland's Hygiene for All struggles to rebuild after multiple fires. Hygiene for All is a Portland nonprofit that provides showers, survival supplies, and community care for people living outside. They operate with city permits under the Morrison Bridge. Since early February 2026, they've been hit by 3 separate fires. One incident destroyed a 275-gallon water tank. Another in February 2026 burned 2 portable toilets and a tank. Then in March 2026, burning cardboard sparked more damage. This comes after a first fire in November 2025, the only one in 5 years before this recent cluster. Funding for Hygiene for All largely disappeared last June, and they've been operating on a shoestring while demand grows. Staff say frequent encampment removals have made safety efforts harder and anxiety higher among their guests. Community support, in donations, supplies, and volunteer time, will determine how quickly they can restore services that many rely on daily. Supporting essential community services should be a priority in any city's budget. Call it like it is. And now for a closer look. Local homeless service provider regroups after fires. This is the same group, Hygiene for All, working to piece together operations under the Morrison Bridge, while the funding picture across Portland and Multnomah County remains tight. The immediate goal is straightforward: replace burned infrastructure, stabilize water access, and keep showers running for neighbors who have no other option. The bigger picture is harder. Repeated damage, higher costs, and a volatile funding environment put essential frontline services at risk. Groups are coordinating donations while the nonprofit pursues grants to rebuild capacity, and community resilience is being tested. This is a clear call to action. Well, that's one way to look at it. And that's your report for today from the City Report with Dean Bark in Portland. Stay informed and join us again tomorrow.